Off.
Yeah, they cut out, and they didn't get started. Oh, no, that was some great stuff. Okay, so just remind me, I'm gonna pause it and remind you, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so somebody get me on that, will you? Okay, so before you, just carpeted your whole house, right? But before you did,
Yeah, I guess.
the carpet layers, you pulled off all your doors. And they did it. Where's the tool I want? Okay. Yes. No. So that, okay, so your carpet guys are just gonna pull your doors, right? And pulling your doors. Pulling your doors is a process. Start at the bottom, don't start at the top. Right? It's just a process of pulling the loose pin hinges. Every butt hinge, these are butt hinges. Remember butts and butts? Every butt hinge is going to have a loose pin. Now there's going to be some exceptions to that rule. If it's an opening exterior door, you could have an NPR hinge, NRP hinge, and non-pin hinge. You have to successfully out inside the hinge. You have a full pin. There are hinges that have fixed pins, but you're not going to see them ever. So this is a good way to get them out. Just guys have different techniques. There's usually these, depending upon the kind of hinge it is. Typically open, and you can get something in there and drive a drift pin or a nail set in there to do it. Now, when you take this last pin, you're going to want to support the door so it doesn't just fall over on you. So typically, we usually get it started. Now, this is a relatively light door, so it's pretty easy to handle. It's not going to be like a solid core, 1 3/4, 3080 door. So this door weighs maybe 25. The 3080 1 3/4 solid core door weighs about 115.
Whoa.
I used to hump those all day long by myself and hang them by myself. More of that. So with the door off, yeah, we got 1 inch of carpet now, right? So you can't hang the door to get a scribe along the carpet to get a line to cut the door on. So what do? Well, hand me a framing square. Right up there. I'm sorry, I pointed low. I misdirected you. That's what magic's all about, by the way. And if you remind me, I'll show you guys some magic tricks.
Yes,
Not right
please.
now, I'll make it a part of a class. I have some decent magic tricks. Okay, so the framing square is the ticket. So let's see you determine, what would you say your carpet's here, right? So here's your carpet. It's that high. You want to be 1/4 inch above it, right? So how you do this, stops plumb. So you can go against your stop. If you can read from there, at least read it. So you got equal review there. But take it down to there, right? Pull it up your 1/4 inch or read 1/4 inch. But if that's from the bottom of the hinge, I'm reading 10 and 13/16. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up 3/16 above that. So I want this to read 11. So I'm sorry, I want to go the other way. So I've got to go up. So I'm going to take it up from here. I'm going to take it, I'm going to call that 7/8. So let's go, you know what, let's just go, we'll go to 10 3/4, just like that. We'll make it down nice and tight on this, just for C. So I'm reading right? I'm using this as my door. And I could continue that with just by, I could clamp a stick to it. Just to go all the way across, but I get a sense of what it's doing, what the floor is doing, what the carpet's doing, so I can kind of add, subtract, if it's not gonna be square to the bottom edge of the door. But at this point, I'm gonna make it square to the bottom edge of the door. And I've read, and what did I say, 10.5? I did, didn't I? Well, pretty easy to do. Just go like that and say 10 3/4 gets me, 10 3/4 just clears me. So let's see where 10 3/4 are at. But then, okay, 10 3/4, that's our number?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's under the hammer.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, just don't lose those pins. So 10 pins get lost all the time. If you take them out, you put them where I just put them, guess what? You won't lose them. 10 3/4, right? Okay. So we just put this baby on there. Make a mark at 10 3/4. That pile of dust. 10 3/4. I think this door is. Yeah, I don't think it's been cut. I don't think it's been scored. Yeah, it's 80 inches. It's right off the shelf at 80 inches. Okay. So that same measurement, I'm just going to transfer. Which is this one. I'm going to cut it up. Yeah, okay. So make it 11/16, 79, 11/16. And 79, 5/8, 7/16. Now, this isn't ready yet. Sit on that end for me. I mean, literally, just hold it down, not sit on it. Not sit on it, literally. You're just gonna just hold it down for me a minute. These clamps might not work. Find out if they will. Yeah. See. Okay, so just hold the door so it doesn't go over on me. It's gonna get in the way. So. On the wall, two of those red handled hand screws. They should be the same. It should have plastic on them. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Got those young eyes. Still see.
Oh, those eyes? Yeah, as you can see, I don't,
Yeah, the young
like
ones.
my optometrist told me, yeah, you're gonna need cataract surgery. It's $3,000.
Oh my gosh.
Medicare pays for it. He goes, yeah, they pay for cataract surgery. But if you really want, like really good, and I go, wait a minute, you mean if I want to see with those eyes? What are you saying? So for $3,000 per eye,
Whoa.
that's $6,000. Oh, what? Why would I do one eye? I have two. So for $6,000, I can get the kind lenses. Medicare pays for what they pay for. Yeah. Oh, you wanted to see with those things? Oh, you wanted to read? Did you want to drive at night too?
Medicare doesn't pay for the good one?
No, they just pay for the schlock, according to my optometrist. The ones that, oh yeah, I got the Medicare eyes. I can't see out of them. That sucks. No. It's like, come on. Look, just don't get old. Just kill yourself before it's too late. Okay, so I got this guy dropped. It could be a little less, but it's fine. So here's the beauty of this, right? We went through all this trouble to make this, just 2 pieces of wood and 15 screws, but it took us a little while because we did it, we did it just so, but it's still not done. Now it'll be done. It'll be done. As soon as we get done,
Oh, it
This
stops
cut.
it from.
here we go. Here we go. Now that edge is the edge you're going to cut on. Not that edge. So this is going to protect your door or whatever you're cutting. This is going to guide your saw, so you're going to cut straight a cut as you can possibly cut. Now, the last thing you're going to want to do before you cut this door.
Finally understand.
Yeah,
What's going
God.
on here.
About time. I was inside your mind, going, Jesus. No, it's. I would never go inside your mind. Scary place to be. Okay, so, the only thing you want to do, and I may or may not use this to do it with, you put that on your line, put that on your line and score it with a knife. If I had my pocket knife, I don't know why I don't always do, I'd score it with my pocket knife. I'd for sure, because we're gonna cut from here, I'd for sure score down here with my steel square, with my adjustable square, and score the end of the cut so I didn't blow out. That's how you can, oh, good, cool. So let's do that. We'll go ahead and clamp it on. Now remember, you made this cutting guide, or we made this cutting, I made this cutting guide, and I cut it so that's the line I'm gonna cut that every time unless I'm get wobbly on the blade, right?
So that's why it didn't need to be flush, because you just make that cut.
Here, it doesn't matter, right? Here, it doesn't matter what it does. So this cut is all that matters, and it's gonna be totally parallel. If this is straight, like we made it, it's gonna be totally parallel. The only you gotta make sure you just get any sawdust that might collect in there. Was it adjustable score over there? I had an adjustable score. It's a really small.
So do you have to measure this part, or is that just?
No, I didn't have to measure. I laid it out from here. Remember this? Remember that?
There was a line already?
I gave myself a line. No, I didn't have to measure it. I gave myself a mark here and a mark here.
Oh,
And then I scored it and then, now I'm gonna score.
You want this one, Ronnie?
I'm just gonna hold this up. You don't want to unclamp right now. And just score it, just to make sure we don't, because because when you cut, when you use a saw on a piece of finished material, which by the way, doors are, they're finish, doors are finish work. And typically, they're not painted or completely finished for you, so you have, if it's paint grade, you have a chance to screw, you know, to fix some screw ups, but you don't want blowout, you don't want those splintered pieces, right? And by scoring, you're gonna avoid that.
Bend to the rest.
Here we go. Now, we want to set this guy, because we're gonna be cutting, we're up a quarter, we have an 1 3/8 store, that's 1 5/8. So let's go ahead and set this guy for 1 3/4. All right. Let's just do it by eye like we should have done in the first place. All right, here we go. That is the problem, folks. So let's see. It wasn't the problem when I was cutting, when I wasn't cutting so deep, right? Okay. Now, sometimes when I do a really long, when I make a really long, and by the way, you don't have to use this. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to fill you up. with sauce.
Yeah, right underneath.
You don't have to use this piece that I
Dust
screwed to the
collection.
bottom. That piece that's screwed to the bottom gives you that edge. You can measure from anything you can clamp to anything. You just use a straight edge and measure over and do the same thing I'm doing. Well, this, you don't have to measure. You know exactly where you're gonna cut and it protects you more. And it'll help keep the grain down and all kinds of stuff. And as long as we can get by that. As long as we can get by that. Yeah, which we will. Just gotta remember. I think this is it. So this one. So you gotta get, and I probably should have made this wider, given that, I just didn't take a few things into account. You know, it's like everything affects everything else in this business. Nothing exists in a vacuum. This is it. I will hope this is it. You guys can help. You guys can hope too. Cross. Fingers crossed, and then let's go ahead and take this guy as shallow as we can, because then we're gonna get the motor and the body up, right? To miss that. Damn. And you can see, I'm right-handed, so basically it's a right-hand saw, period. So use it right-handed. Don't try to use this saw left-hand. Get yourself a left-hand saw. But it allows me to take my left hand and not have to support anything and peel back that barb. I know where it is, the blades are out of my way, right?
Beautiful.
In it?
Nice.
Yeah, and so that is a cleanly cut. Door. With our cutting guide, which I usually bore a hole and hang them. A whole bunch of different sizes. So we want to start by breaking that vacuum out. Thinking about vacuuming this up and then me. Okay, please. And then hanging the door is pretty easy, just like you did it before. The opposite, start, get that top hinge on first. These guys will go right on. There you go, and there, my friend.
Beautiful.
Just off that. Wasn't gonna touch it, but it's gonna open and close.
When did you put the, I saw you put the framing squares.
Yeah.
And then let's get here, get me back in dock. Sure. Please.
I think usually it goes in there.
Okay, let's come on up for a minute or two. And any dust we made, we've done it too. And tabletop. Thanks, John. All right, good. Yes.
Is your glove? Yeah.
Looking good, you guys.
Very thorough job with it.
Looking good. Sweet,
You guys want to do my car next?
sweet sweeping. Oh, I'm tired. Gonna have these people over for dinner tomorrow at our house. That live next door to us out at Rancho Oso, where our fifth wheel is, where our RV is. Pretty interesting people. She plays bluegrass violin. She's a professional. She's recorded. She's got 5 or 6 albums. And she's been playing her whole life. But she's bringing a fiddle. And I play wood flute and penny whistle, but I hope to be playing penny whistle with her. So we're gonna play We're gonna play tomorrow night at my house.
Dan's
Pardon me?
Dan's
Yes, Hoop Nanny. But her husband, Jeff and Katie White, are really cool people. And they're motivational speakers. He's younger than me. He's probably in the 60s. Right? Got white hair. He's got white, like not short like my hair, but you know, not long. But his beard is literally, I think if you bend over, it definitely covers his navel. This white patriarch beard, man. It's like, oh my God. I wore a beard, full beard and long hair till I was 49 years old. I think. 48 or 49. I wore, I had long hair. I think I had cut my hair. I think, maybe not, but I had this beard. Like I had this beard like forever. And then I shaved it off. I would shave off every 5 or 6 years, you know, and then just let it grow right back. This full bushy beard. So the day I shaved it off is basically the last time I wore a beard. I was in the hallway of our house, and my oldest daughter walked out of the bathroom, saw me, and screamed bloody murder. She had no idea who was in her hall. Just some guy. I didn't even look like me. It was just some guy. And then, you know, I would see people in the grocery store, and they would just walk right by me. People I know as well as I know, you know, anybody, and they just walk right by me. I mean, literally nobody recognized me. And I'd say something, oh yeah, Rodney. And I'll tell you this one kind of, well, it's funny anecdote, but I had shaved once back, gosh, it was in the 70s. And I'm gonna totally front myself up with it. So I'm living with a guy named Scott. I can't think of his last name. He's a DJ and a surveyor, and I had the sea urchin business. And we both had a mutual friend, this woman named Anastasia. She was a PhD, really beautiful woman, and she was really fun and funny. And we invited her over. We invited her over after I shaved, right? But I left this big brush, I had a big, huge mustache, and I was shaving. And I mean, it just didn't look like me. So I said, we're gonna pull this off, right? So she comes over, right? And Scott's there, and I'm not there. And Scott tells her, "Oh, it's so cool because Rodney's down in LA or something, but his cousin's from Montana is coming here, and he'll be here, right? And then Rodney will come later." So I knock on the door, and it's like, oh, and then I'm wearing a cowboy hat, and I got some paper, something stuffed in my cheek like a chaw of tobacco. And I'm talking like this, and she buys it, hook, line, and sinker that I am my cousin, right? So at one point I said, you know, y'all smoke marijuana? I said, I stopped in Frisco on the way down here and I got me some. So then we got high, and she says, well, what do you do all day long, you know? And tell me about a typical day of ranching, right? So I'm going, well, I get up really early, you know, if I can feed the stock, and then at one point I said, occasionally I fuck sheep. And she looks at me and goes, Rodney?
That's what Rodney gave it.
That gave it away. But dude, I mean, she bought that I was somebody else. It was the coolest thing. It's like I was me, but I wasn't me. So okay. I wasn't gonna say the part.
Style of joke?
What's that?
Was that because the style of joke, the type of joke that he just pulled up?
Exactly.
That's
It was so off the wall that it had to be me. You know, she was probably suspicious, but then when I said that, I was like, no way. No way am I buying that? So okay, so what'd you all learn tonight? Did you learn anything tonight?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
It's a cool way to go. If you have a skill saw, you can cut straight and clean depending upon your blade. And if you got it, you know, and you don't have to make that. Like I said, I like that, especially for door cutting, because it protects the bottom of doors. And what you'll find that if you're actually doing what the exercise we just did is actually cut real doors. Those will not be unpainted doors. They will not be unfinished doors. They'll be in a house that's done, they got recarpeted. You'll have that. And so you have to be super careful. And you kind of score them and make sure you, if you look at how clean our cut was, I forgot to show you how clean our cut was, but it did not blow out in the end, which was on a typical vertical style on like a fur door. If you don't score that end of your cut, you are guaranteed going to blow that thing out. It's going to splinter. As the blade leaves the work, it's going to blow that out. And as the blade comes up on your cross grain, it's going to feather it, going to make little splinters. You know, and really super sharp. But if you score it, you're done. It doesn't splinter. So that's a good thing to know, and making those is good. And you just in your little shop, you know, or make one, just keep it with your, I kept 2 or 3 of these, and that works for 3.0 and down. That'll work for a 2.0 door, 3.0, 2.8, 2.6, 2.4, 2.2, 2.0, right? You can just hang it over and you bring your clamps in on the side and work. And you maybe want to go maybe 4.5, figure out the clamp you want to use and the saw you want to use, and make sure you got the room, right? Make it wide enough so you can get a clamp on it and not have to mess around like we did, moving those clamps. I mean, you'll have a nice saw cutting guide, and I can't think of what else to tell you. Let's go home, man. I'm ready for it. See you next Tuesday, okay?
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you guys at home, my Zoom people at home.
Thank you, Rod.
For sure. Thank you, everybody.
So I've seen